It's time to code your first data frame. Whoa! Go to a new Colab window, colab.research.google.com, and you should see an option for a link. Okay, I want you to go ahead and paste it in now. A lot of the data sets that we use are going to be linked. Again, that's simply for ease of use. So it should look something like this. It should have the variable name URL, and this one, it's got bike rentals cleaned at the end. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So once you have it, feel free to go ahead and press Shift Enter. I'm going to go ahead and get the notebook set up for you. So I want you to put in a text cell, and at the beginning, let's just say load data frame. Okay. And this is a load data frame notebook, so we'll call it the same up here. That is the standard, by the way. The data frame is one word with capital D, capital F. Put the text at the top. And I'm going to comment everything today. So we're going to do access bike rentals data, or access, let's say, store bike rentals data set as variable URL. Okay? Okay, so it's stored there. So what do you do with the URL? Yeah, I'm a little curious what happens if you just press URL. Press Shift Enter. You can see it's not something that, oh, it's stored as a string. Look, this is a .csv file. We're going to use Pandas to open it now. Okay? So, code along with me. Here we go. Import Pandas as PD. Okay? I think we'll just go ahead and press Shift Enter so we can get the PD stored there. And I'm just going to give this comment import Pandas. Okay. Next, we are going to load data frame. Now, the way we do that, that's using the df, okay, so call it df equals, and then we use the read CSV method. Okay, that is a Pandas method. We need to use Pandas to transform that string, which is a CSV file, into the data it contains. So PD dot. Okay, when you do that, it gives you all the different options in Pandas. We'll be learning some of these in this week, but there's so much that it's very broad. So we want read. Now look here. When you type in the read, even though we focus on CSV files, note that there are other kinds of files that you can read. In particular, notice the read underscore Excel. So if you wanted to try to load an Excel file in Pandas, instead of read CSV, you would read Excel. And then you may wonder what some of these are, like Feather. Well, that's a special kind of, it's designed to be faster than CSV files. And HTML, and we're going to mainly focus on CSV, so get used to using CSV. Oh my gosh, I started typing without clicking. There I go. Now, what do I put in the parentheses? Well, it's the file, okay, and it's been stored as a variable URL. So that's what you put in. Press Shift Enter. Okay, so this is great. What has happened at this point is that the data, which we haven't seen yet, is now inside of a variable called df, and importantly, that type is a data frame. Don't believe me? Programming should not be a question of belief. It should be a question of checking. Type df, right? Check it. Doesn't matter that I called it df. You can see it's a data frame. Pandas has their own kind of weird system of types where you see pandas.core.frame. I don't know about that. Just note that it is a data frame. So this is check type of df. Now my favorite part, we are going to look at it. So this is where we type in df dot head parentheses. And this should show the first 5 rows. So whenever you get data and you want to look at it, you want to do these 3 steps. Okay, I'm going to even put them in. Well, the URL is like That's only if you don't have the file. So step one is import pandas, okay? You've got to do that to get it to work. 2, you've got to load the data frame, usually it's .read_CSV. And then 3, show the first 5 rows. And this is essential because you want it to, like, you've got to see it. Sometimes, like, it could happen that it doesn't work out right. So you need to do this check. And the fun thing about it is you get to see the data. If you're not looking at the data, I don't know what you're doing. There you have it. It's a data frame. Let's look at it together, okay? When you look at the data frame, you want to try to make sense of it, okay? It's not simply, oh, there's the output, done. Well, if you're going to do something with it, you're going to be able to interpret data. This week, we're not just like, hey, there it is, someone else look at it. No, we're looking at it. We're the ones who are going to make the comments on it. So let's look at this together. What do we have? The far left, these are indices, okay? This means the 0th row, the 1st row, and so on. Just a generic ordering. Note that you also have instant. Now these are almost like redundant, but it's a little bit interesting because, this is the first instance. Why is it interesting? Because it's a column potentially for machine learning. And so the indices are not used as columns in machine learning. I know today's not machine learning, but we do have to talk about it because the data sets you picked today are actually going to be used later for machine learning. And simply put, this instance column, like, it could be that the company gets more. This is a bike rentals data set, just so you know. So they could get more bike rentals later than earlier. So it's not truly redundant because it's its own column. It is a little different. Indices are not a part of the machine learning world. They're not a column, okay? What else do we have, okay? Look at season and year, and even month. So it looks like the data is kind of normalized here, right? Like 1.0, we don't know what that means offhand. If we assume 1.0 is the month of January, we can infer that it's winter. And we don't know, it's not the year 0. There are no bike rentals in the year 0. If we scroll to the far right, you can see that count CNT. That's the number of bike rentals. The reason why I know that is because I know what this data set is. If you didn't know that, which you probably wouldn't if you just saw it as is without knowing anything, you would want to go back and figure out where did this data come from. And usually the data source has that information. Okay, note that we do have some other columns. And again, if you look at something like temperature, right, you have all these different values, but these are not the temperatures that we're used to. This is when data, it's normalized. And when you normalize the data, it goes between 0 and 1. Why would one normalize the data? Again, this is strategy for machine learning. In the old days, it was kind of essential. These days, most of the, I don't know what you want to call them, hyper-modern algorithms don't actually need it. Okay, so those are the 3 steps. So what do? Number 1, we import pandas. 2, we load the data frame. Now it's implicit here that the URL, you've got to get the data from somewhere, and here we have it stored. And 3, show the first 5 rows. And finally, take a moment to look at it, try to get a sense of what it is, okay? So your turn to practice this. Enjoy.